What is up, guys? It is the Bluebloods, and we are here with another 2 minute drill, March 2nd, 2021. And we got two very big storylines that we have to talk about tonight. We're back on the latest college football news after a really great episode yesterday. You should go check it out, where we break down the best quarterbacks of the 2000s within college football. But we have to start out here, man. We covered this storyline a few episodes ago, but we got a big update here to say the least, and it is Arik Gilbert transfers back out of Florida, enters his name back into the transfer portal, and guys, this is a huge development, and this comes right after we thought we had this whole Arik Gilbert situation figured out. Where we thought he was going to end up in Florida, be the replacement for Kyle Pitts, and Dan Mullen and this coaching staff absolutely nailed their replacement for Kyle Pitts, but he announces his departure on Sunday, and he announced that he will not make an official decision until he is officially enrolled in school and already on campus somewhere else. So I think his next decision is going to be his final decision. I think after transfer from LSU, going to Florida, having to transfer out of there as well. I think he's going to take this next decision super, super seriously. And I think he's going to wait till he is absolutely sure he's making the right decision for his future. And there's many rumors that are circulating about why Gilbert may have transferred, may have entered his name back into the portal. And it kind of depends on what type of fan you are. Florida fans are voicing their displeasure by saying that Gilbert did not academically qualify for admission into Florida. Now, whether that happened, whether that is true, I don't know. I don't have Gilbert's transcripts, but I can imagine that probably isn't the full case because I'm pretty sure Dan Mullen would have checked that before offering him a spot. And before Gilbert committed, he probably would have known whether he was going to get into Florida or not. And LSU fans are speculating on the insider blogs and everything that Gilbert might be taking his talents back to Baton Rouge, which could happen, but is there any proof of this? No, they're using a bunch of cryptic tweets from some players that are currently on the team that's talking about be patient, things are coming. They're thinking it could be Gilbert headed back to Baton Rouge, but I'm not sure. It's and really and truly, I don't think anyone can really speculate or assume what exactly is going through Gilbert's head, Gilbert's mind, or just anything about where he's going to eventually wind up. And I want to say this. There was a lot of rumors even throughout the season at LSU. And Gilbert was very homesick. He was having some mental health struggles due to that. And so, just as like on a human being level, I really hope Gilbert's next decision is the best place for him, his mental health, his family, and I really want to see this kid succeed. I don't know how you would root against this kid. I mean, he's a good kid, one of the most talented athletes out of this past cycle, and I'm very, very excited to see where he ends up. I think he's going to have great options, great success wherever he goes, but he needs to be in the right mindset to make that happen. So he really needs to sit down and think about what's going to be best for Arik Gilbert himself, not LSU, not Florida, nobody else other than Arik Gilbert and his family. And in terms of potential landing spots, I know I told y'all that it's going to be impossible to guess, but just some schools that like I could maybe see working out, some ones that I think could be potential ones. I really do think LSU could be a potential option. I think there's a reason he committed to LSU. I think Coach O is very upset that he lost them. That receiving core lost a lot of talent to the draft over the past 2 years. I think Gilbert was going to be the top target. He wants his whoever ends up being the new starting quarterback this upcoming year, whether Miles Brennan can play, whether it's Max Johnson, whether it's TJ Finley, they're going to need a top target. And I think Arik Gilbert could be that guy. And just an interesting one. So we heard about the homesick thing. Georgia, Darnell Washington's the guy. He kind of came on late last year. I don't think Gilbert will want to go there and play second fiddle to George Pickens or Washington. But there's another Georgia program on the rise, and That is Georgia Tech. I know that sounds a little out there, a little crazy, but let me explain it. It's in its home state, in the middle of Atlanta. It's the center of everything going on in that state. And Georgia Tech has a fresh, new offense that is primed to take that next step under with Jeff Sims at quarterback. Had an amazing true freshman season. Jameer Gibbs at the running back spot. Adding Gilbert would give it a three-headed monster that nobody in the ACC would want to see. I would say ever in conference play next year. And Jeff Collins has been dominating the portal these past few years, and I really think this would be a recruit that if he could land, this is an impact transfer that would immediately change the trajectory of the season. It can make them a dark horse in the ACC this upcoming year. But like I said, man, in all actuality, I don't think anyone can realistically speculate, and it's mostly because I don't even think Gilbert knows where he's leaning, what he wants to do currently. And so, with that, man, we kind of have a downer segment, I would say, and I really, really hate I have to cover this, man, but the 2 minute drill supposed to be college football news, and so we had a horrible situation come out of Texas, man. I got some real big thoughts on this. When we usually don't cover storylines like this, so we try to keep it upbeat, stick to on the field stuff, but I felt like as someone who's bringing you guys the latest, I needed to talk about this. And Texas defensive back Caden Sterns released some disturbing news today on Twitter when he released the knowledge that Texas donors, alumni, have reached out and threatened football players who did not stay and perform the Eyes of Texas, their fight song at the end of games or whatever. And in case you're not up to date on this story, some background is that the song comes from a former university president who heard Confederate General Robert E. Lee tell students at Washington College, in one of the Carolinas, I believe, not Washington University or anything, but in one of the Carolinas, that the eyes of the South are upon you. And and for some reason, the president liked that and modified that saying into a song to fit the University of Texas. So kind of has a Confederate, Civil War background. And some players came out, some other fans, even Tom Herman, that said, man, this is inappropriate. It's based in slavery, racism, and we want it changed, and we don't want to stand for this. We can find something better to represent this university and all this new diversity. This song was written when diversity wasn't really a thing America was going through. And the scary part is, man, Tom Herman came out, vocally supported his players boycotting the song. And now it's coming out that the boosters kind of expedited his exit from Texas due to this. And this was one of the factors that led to his firing, which is just, it doesn't make any sense. As critical as I was of Tom Herman, this is the last thing that you should have fired him for. And Steve Sarkisian has came out. He's been asked this question. He has said that he's going to he expects his players to stay out there and perform the song after the game, and that is their fight song for right now. So kind of a weaker stance than Tom Herman took. I think his hands are kind of tied being a new coach at Texas. I mean, I don't think those are the feathers you want to ruffle. And I want to cover this, man, guys. This is not my words here. I want to credit the Texas Tribune here, who got some quotes from alumni, man. And some of this is almost, this is super, super hard to read, but one anonymous donor said that it is time for us to put the foot down and make it perfectly clear that the heritage of Texas will not be lost. It is sad that it is offending African Americans. He doesn't use that word, but he uses kind of derogatory language there. And as I said before, that African Americans are free now, and it's time for them to move on to another state where everything is in their favor. And it's just ignorant comments like this, man, are so hard to just I cannot believe someone looked a reporter in the eye and said these things. It shows you what's deep down in their soul, what they think about these players, man. These guys, these donors, alumni, I think these players are here strictly to play football. That's the goods and services they offer these donors, and then everything else about these players they don't care about. They don't care about the struggles in their communities. They don't care about the struggle in their lives. They don't care about their personal identification, anything like that, man. These guys are strictly football players in helmets with jersey numbers. They don't care about the individual. And it gets worse. An actual donor named Larry Wilkinson said that less than 6% of our student body is black. The tail cannot be allowed to wag the dog, and the dog must instead stand up for what is right. Nothing forces those students to attend University of Texas at Austin. I encourage them to select an alternative school now, in all caps. And like I said, man, on this podcast, we've covered some storylines involving this sort of, and we try to keep it lighthearted, but these things have to be reported on, man. And the fact that people who think like this are given a platform or given any power is really the root of the problem in America today. And it should be eye opening to anyone who is disconnected from this issue, who denies this issue, who's ignorant to this issue, that change is needed, man. And the fact that we're still having to go through this in 2021 just is so disappointing to me, that even in my generation that we're still seeing all this hate spewed and ignorance just exacerbated through our generation. And this is just the equivalent, the college equivalent of the shut up and drivel crowd that thinks just because someone does something, someone's an athlete, that they can't be educated enough or they shouldn't have a voice to speak on racial issues, political issues, issues that are actually affecting these players, these people, these individuals' lives. Um, these athletes are working towards their dream career in the NFL. They're getting a degree that's going to change their family, change their lives, and they're bringing in millions of dollars to this university, which they don't get a dime of in terms of personal salary. And that's a whole nother debate for another day. But and you're gonna treat them like this, and man, it just is sickening to me, to be completely honest with you guys. And I always try to keep it real with y'all on this podcast, but I mean, this is nauseating to read stuff like this, and just the stuff that these players have to deal with, that just ridiculous. And it's just kind of like our society, our world under a microscope, and it just shows you the real racial underlying roots of this country, the issues that we really have yet to address in this country. And you know, this should be an experience that every recruit in the country should take note of. And I think anyone who is considering, committed, or signed with Texas should really reconsider Texas as an option as a school right now, especially if you're a minority athlete, man. You know, you need to go somewhere that promotes your community, promotes your learning, promotes your individuality, your brand, you as a person, who respects you as a human being enough to under that doesn't just strip the name off the jersey. You're just a University of Texas football player, and you have no voice, you have no rights, you have no face. And I think it's clear as day that boosters, donors, upper management in terms of AD and presidents, now new coaches and Steve Sarkisian, do not support these players and the issues within their communities and their lives. And it just shows the ignorance of some in our country. And I just want to say, man, just if you're going to take anything from this 2-minute drill, man, we have to do better as a country. We have to be better as allies. We have to acknowledge our role and listen. That this is the main thing I want y'all to take away. As whatever you want to call yourself, allies, as people who are looking for change, listen. This isn't your fight. You don't have to try to overtake the situation. listen to the calls for help, listen to the stories, develop that empathy, understanding to really make this country better, man. And everyone's got to stop acting like they know it all, and let's please remove the platform that some of these guys have to to spew their ignorance. And I just want better for just everything involved. And this is a terrible thing. And the fact that these players put their careers, their lives on the line every weekend for a university that is backed by people who really don't support these guys, who really don't care what happens after they walk off that football field, man, it shows the darkest side of this country, man. And listen, to end this off, I want y'all to add this to the top of the list of one of the reasons Texas will never be back is the toxic culture that they have built. And until those deep roots are pulled out of that university and something changes, I think Texas is going to be in a lot of trouble, and they should be. And this is just a disgusting storyline. And the fact that the Texas Tribune, Bleacher Report, and all this stuff had to put out articles, I had to spend 10 minutes covering here on the 2 minute drill is not how I wanted to spend my night, man. But I felt like I had to address it and kind of bring light to what these players are going through and how we can do better. And I wanted to do my part in bringing you guys the latest here. But that is a wrap on this 2 minute drill, man. We will be back with some more transfer portal news tomorrow. We got two big storylines there, some commitments, some updates in recruiting. So make sure to tune in there. Guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, which you have to be for this episode, we have an awesome interview with Greg Sharp from Nebraska to kick off our big 10 and 31 days out on all podcast streaming platforms. And you can find the video version on our channel. You're already here, so go ahead and click over and check that out if you haven't. If you're just here for the 2 minute drill, man, make sure to subscribe, click the notification bell at the top right. That way you're notified anytime we drop something. Y'all know where to find us on all social media. Make sure y'all keep getting the words out, man. And let me know in the comments what y'all think about these storylines we cover here on the 2 minute drill. Go check out our show from yesterday and let us know who your pick is for the best quarterback of the 2000s as well. But for your boy, Zach, and the Blue Bloods, we are out.